Hi. It's Joy Foster, founder of TechPixies, host of the Sparkle and Thrive podcast, and also host of the Social Media Superhero Bootcamp, which we run a couple times a year. And we're in the middle of our Social Media Superhero Bootcamp right now. And I am doing for the first time a live recap on all of our social media feeds, and it's going on to a super secret podcast so that people can listen to it. And get caught up, even if they're not in the boot camp. This is literally your last chance to join the boot camp if you haven't joined it yet. TechPixies.com/bootcamp. And I apologize that I am doing the recap for the third day at 9:42 p.m. But whenever you hear this, you're going to love it because you're going to hear it when you need to hear it. After the boot camp, I went and hosted our Business Beyond Social Day, the kickoff day. So for our students who've finished our social media management certification or who are more advanced with their social media or really just want to lean into building a business online, we have our Business Beyond Social program. And today was our kickoff event for it. And we had a fantastic arrangement of coaches that were talking. And anyway, I went straight from the boot camp to our Business Beyond Social Day. And then I also coach for another company on Wednesdays. And it was our last session there. And then I had a school event at my son's school, and then I just got home. So that's why I'm also in my personal branding clothes, which is flowers and not stars, but I'm wearing stars still. So we're going to talk about the garden a little bit on this podcast because I'm going to talk to you in this live recap because I'm going to talk to you about superpower number 5 and number 6. And superpower number 5 is market magnetism. And of course, we're going to talk about bees, my 6 Bs and the things that I think you should be doing. I also dropped into the training today something that I only do when I have time. And that is the eyeball matrix. And it's something that I developed to sort of explain the different levels of social media out there. So if you're just joining us, let me get you up to speed really quickly. The Superhero Bootcamp is a bootcamp we run to help people learn how to use social media really quickly, get up to speed with it really quickly. And I go through the superpowers every day. So I've been teaching social media for a long time. Like since social media existed, I've been teaching people how to use it. And we've built TechPixies. We've built up a social media community of over 22,000. We have a podcast with over 200 episodes. We have almost 100,000 downloads. I think we're getting closer and closer every day to 100,000 downloads, which is amazing. We've had 13,000 women go through our Social Media Superhero Bootcamp, which is also amazing. And we've had almost 1,000 women go through our paid training program, which is our social media management certification. And I'm getting on WhatsApp, I'm getting lots of questions from lots of women about the social media management certification. I'm going to release information about that tomorrow on our 4th installment of our Social Media Superhero Bootcamp Super Secret podcast. So if you're interested in our social media management certification, make sure you listen to tomorrow's Super Secret podcast or watch it. You might be interested in what I have to say. So let's just recap the the social media superhero superpowers. Say that 10 times fast. Number 1, take off the invisibility cloak, right? You are going to have to get visible online if you want to connect with people you've never met before who are anywhere else in the world, right? I mean, we primarily work at TechPixies with women in the United Kingdom, but we do have women who've discovered us in America, and we have people who have discovered us in Switzerland and in Spain. And so we do have some foreign students that are in our program in the Netherlands, et cetera. So it's not just in the UK, but we've primarily focused on the UK. But social media transcends borders. So you can get clients all over the world. It doesn't have to be in your local area. And it's very cool to be able to connect with people you don't know. But in order to connect with people you don't know, you are going to have to take off your invisibility cloak. And the key message that I said on day 1 was your message is more important than your fear of getting your message out there. If you have a gift to give to the world, you have got a duty, a responsibility to bring that gift to the world. And I think sometimes, imagine if I had stopped teaching social media, and imagine, I had not done the scholarship program, right? In our scholarship program, which is now a pay it forward program, we have provided over 300,000 pounds of support to women who come from BAME, LGBTQ+, 60+, and lower socioeconomic backgrounds. Imagine if I thought that that gift wasn't worthy of putting out into the world, or that I wasn't good enough to talk about what we're doing on social media. I know women's lives have been changed because of our program. And if I had not had the courage to stand up and talk about what we do and encourage women to get involved in it and invite them into our training program, which goes even deeper than our boot camp, then I don't know where they would be or what they would be doing. They would have had to find somebody else. And maybe I resonate in a way that other people don't. So your message is way more important than your fear of getting it out there. Plus, once you start getting that message out there, the fear starts to dissipate, because you do lives every single week. I have done a live on my social media feed every single week, whether one person's watching or 100 people are watching. And I've done that since February of 2019. It's just what I do. It no longer bothers me. It's a very important part of what I do, actually. So your message is more important than your fear of getting yourself out there. Superpower number 1, take off your invisibility cloak. Superpower number 2 is enhanced future vision. Why do I want to use social media at all? Right? What's the reason for using social media? And the question that I posed, which I think has really resonated with people, and I asked it in a way that I've never asked it before, which is, what is possible for you if you learn how to leverage social media properly, right? Professionally. What's possible for you? And what was possible for me, in the very, very early days, when I was just starting out, was that number 1, I could help 12 women return to work after career break. That was my first goal. Give them the tech skills to go back to work after career break. Number 2, what was possible for me? Well, I could take the money that I earned from helping those women go back to work, and I could take my family on a little holiday. And it was a little holiday. It was like 1 night, 2 nights in the New Forest. And it was in a hotel, and it had a pool, and the kids went crazy. They absolutely loved it. The kids were sleeping. Tim and I went to, I think it was 1 night, because we just had the 1 night. It was 1 night. We went out to, we had dinner in the hotel and downstairs. There was a wedding going on. I remember that. But it was a wonderful trip. We went cycling in the New Forest. It was a trip. It was a gift I gave my family. I paid for it. Right. And then I also was able to hire someone to come and help me in the house. And it was a woman who, she was a widow. Her husband had died of cancer. She had 5 girls to raise. Her youngest girl was like 7, and she needed work. She needed a job, and she's become a very good friend. And in fact, she was here today, and she was checking in, how's the boot camp going, right? So I'm super, super lucky that not lucky, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I leaned into a vision because of what it opened up for me, the possibilities it opened up for me. So that was the question I asked. What was possible for you? Later on, it became a place where we've provided paid contracts to over 40 people. The company itself has turned over 1.6 million 8 years later. And a lot of that's happened in the last few years. I could never have imagined that, right? But that's all been made possible because I learned how to leverage social media. I got my confidence to learn social media and to start teaching it to other people, right? So why do you want to use it? Get a clear vision. What's the vision? What would I love, right? What would I love? Lean into that question. What's possible for me if I learn how to leverage this professionally? And then we talked about superpower number 3, which is a great, important one. And it's all about network navigation. I was like, what is number 3? It's network navigation, right? Now you know why you want to use it. Now you're willing to take off your invisibility cloak. Oh my gosh, what network do I go on? And I'm not going to go into all the details of that. I would say go watch the other podcasts, or listen to the other podcasts, or jump into the boot camp if if you still got time. You've got till the 21st to sign up, and then you can't get in anymore. But the 21st is the last day you can sign up for the boot camp. It's techpixies.com/bootcamp. You can go and watch the Matrix, learn about the Matrix. It's great. It's awesome. All right. So really, we talked about the different types of content that goes up, the different types of clients you're trying to reach, business to business, business to consumer. Do you need news-based content or SEO-based content? We talked about pictures, text. We talked about links. We talked about video, and we talked about sound. So all the different networks are good for those things. So make sure you go and watch or listen to the previous podcast. I go into a lot more detail there. And then superpower number 4 was social media speed and agility. And I talked about the sunflower effect. Now, I've been teaching the sunflower effect for a long time, and it just gets enhanced and improved over the years. But there's 3 main pieces to social media. You're planting the seeds by creating weekly content. And I think a lot of people are relieved to know that you do not have to create content every single day on social media. Weekly is fine. It's more than fine. The consistency is what matters. And we're going to talk about that today. And then the second thing that you do with those seeds, you have to peddle your message out into the world. You have to get those seeds out into the world. How do you do that? There's 3 ways to do that. One is through your website, one through social media, and one's through email. And there's 3 types of seeds you can plant. There's 3 types of messages you can get out to the world. What are they? Well, podcasting, blogging, and video. And at TechPixies, we do all 3. So if you go to techpixies.com/blog or you go to techpixies.com/podcast, you're going to see, if you go onto one of our podcast page, we have a video that I do. And then we have, and we embed the podcast underneath it where you can just listen and then you can read. There's a whole bunch of text underneath it. It's called show notes. And that serves as a blog. It serves as SEO content. So we do all 3. How do we get that message out to the world? Well, we put it on social media. We also email it out to our mailing list. We also embed it on our website, right? We do all 3 of those things. And we've been around for a long time, so we know how to do this. But you can start with one. You can start with creating a blog and sharing that blog onto social media. That's a great way to do that in the early days. And then the more advanced way to do it is video on social media, and then share that video on social media out via your email list. So we talked about all of that. And then the third part of the sunflower effect is the stem, that it all stems back to your business. It all stems back to your product. It all stems back to your service, right? So if you're a charity, it stems back to your service. All right. So that's the top 4, the first 4. And I've done full episodes on those, so you can go listen to those if you're super curious. Today, we leaned into the 5th and 6th superpower. And these are really important. And they are in line with my garden theme, my sunflower theme. We talk about the sunflower. Now we're talking about the bees, the 6 Bs. If you do these 6 Bs, you will be successful on social media. So I'm just finding my Bs to remind myself of all of them. And I'll see if I can get it up on my screen so you can see them as well. But really, the first of the 6 Bs is be professional and be on brand and be authentic. So be professional, on brand, and authentic. That's really the first B. And what does it mean to be on brand? Well, you might notice that I wear stars. We have stars in our logo. I have a star necklace. I usually have a star shirt on. I just don't right now because I've just gotten home from a school event and I was in my sort of non-work clothes, which involves flowers because I love flowers. So be on brand, be authentic, be professional. What does authentic mean? Well, and also just to say, being on brand also means wearing your brand colors, right? My brand colors are navy. So I'm actually even wearing a navy top, but navy and pink, those are our main colors. But we have a meaning behind the colors, right? So red means love, yellow means optimism, blue means loyalty. So we bring all of that into what we're doing at TechPixies. And then be aware of your analytics, right? Be aware of your analytics means look at your stats, right? What's working, what's not working, do more of what's working, do less of what's not working. Most people don't even know where their stats are. Most people they just put stuff up and they don't think about the time that they're doing it. They don't think about who's seeing it. They don't analyze the data and say, okay, what could I do to improve this? So you need to be aware of your analytics. Let me just go back to the professional part as well. Professional just means, you don't have to show up. I don't have makeup on. My hair is not, amazingly tidy right now, but it just means, and this is what I said on the training today, you can be authentic and you can talk about something that you've learned something from without talking about it while you're going through it. So a lot of people use social media to talk about an open wound, right? But one of my mentors once said, I like to use social media to talk about a scar, right? So after the wound has healed over, whatever you learned, you can share your learnings. But it can be challenging if you're going through the messy middle and you're talking about the messy middle. So when we're using social media, we want to really talk about, especially if we're trying to attract clients and, things like that, we want to talk about the messy middle when we've kind of gone through most of it and we've got the lessons and learnings from it. So authentic, I think one of the challenges with social media is people are almost over authentic and they're showing everything that they're going through. I think there's ways to connect with your audience and do it in a way that's healthy for you and healthy for them, right? So that's what I mean by authentic. And professional just means, talk about it when it's a scar and not a wound, right? And I went into more detail in the training about some of the challenges that TechPixie had that we overcame, but I didn't talk about the challenges that we had until after we were beyond most of the hardest bits. After I knew that we were sort of going in the right direction, then I could talk about it and I could say, here's what I learned about it. And that was important to my audience because I needed women to know that building a business has its ups and downs. And actually, lots of women in our community are building businesses. And I needed them to know that that's okay to have ups and downs in your business and that you can come out stronger as a result. So anyway, I got a little bit sidetracked on that. But it's really about making sure you're connecting with your audience in a professional way. Little things like checking your grammar, checking your spelling, making sure what you're writing in your copy makes sense. That's professional. Making sure that your brand colors are showing up and going all the way through your feed. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Be aware of your analytics. We talked about that already. Be engaged. That means no comment left behind. If someone's watching this video right now and they leave a comment, I will acknowledge it. I will read it. I will connect with you on that level. But if we put a post on social media that's pre-recorded or, like a podcast or a picture, what we will do is if someone comments, we will go back and we will comment on their comment. So no comment left behind. We have a rule at TechPixies, no comment left behind. And we have interns that help us with our social media management who've gone through our social media management training, and they know that rule. So if someone comments on our post, their job is to go and comment back. Right? Be engaged. But it also means you go onto your feed and you engage with your audience, right? You engage with your community so that it's not just always you talking to people and looking for comments, but you're actually, every once in a while, you're out there commenting on other people's stuff and you're engaging with other people. So you're building up the relationship both ways. Be consistent, right? I would rather you post once a week for 7 weeks than once a day for 6 days or 7 days and then disappear for 6 weeks, right? Very important that we don't post and ghost. We show up regularly, consistently. At TechPixies, I do a live video every single week. And if I can't do a live video for a couple weeks, I will do the videos. I'll pre-record them or I'll pre-do the lives and then we use them later. But consistency is really important. You're getting them out every single week. You've got something going on to your social media. You've got something going on to your website. You've got something going out in your email. Very, very important. Okay, the next one was be on when your followers are on. This is a little bit late. I'm filming this. It's now 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday night. None of our followers are on social media. I mean, a couple people are on right now watching, but I know most people are going to watch and listen to this tomorrow, right? The next day. They'll listen to it on Thursday. It's Wednesday. See, I don't even know what day it is. They're going to listen to it on Thursday, even though I filmed it on Wednesday. And that's because this isn't the right time. But I wanted to get it done today because I wanted to make sure it was done before I went to bed. So that's why I'm doing it. But I know what times our audience are online. And in fact, we plan our social media super bootcamp around the times that we know people are available, etc. So you want to look at your analytics to figure out what times are the right times. And it's not so much that you have to be online when they're on, but you have to have content running online when they're on. And you can use pre-scheduling tools to do that, something we teach in our social media management certification program. All right, so be relevant with your content. This is the last bit. And it's really not about what you want to say. It's about what the person you're trying to reach wants to hear, right? What is the person that needs your help? What are they looking for? What are they searching for? What questions are they asking? That's what matters, right? It's really not about you. It's about them. So that's very important. And I talk about how we create the content at TechPixies. I have so many amazing students with so many amazing stories that come from all different backgrounds and walks of life that I know that if we share a success story, it's going to spark in someone, oh, she did it, I can do it too, right? So a lot of our podcast is actually of our alumni and the successes that they've had, and also people that I respect and have a lot of respect for, who've built really wonderful businesses that mostly are female, because I need to shine a light on female-led businesses, I think. But really that piece of my content, we have 4 pillars in our content. One is financial independence. I talk about financial independence a lot. I talk about women's issues, menopause, losing babies when, things, hard stuff, elderly parents, things that are challenging. And it's important we talk about that because people need to hear that you can be a carer and you can run a successful business. They need to hear that you can be a parent and run a successful business, whether it's a social media management business or it's your own business. But I'll tell you what, if you have the social media skills, you could run your own business. That's one of the reasons I'm able to run my own business, is because I knew how to market my own business, right? So important. So that's why I do those stories, because they inspire our community and they see if it's possible for her, it's possible for me, right? That's the most important thing. Okay. So that is superpower number 5, which is market magnetism. These are the things that you need to do. If you're doing them, your social media really will fly. I want to just touch base on something before I get into the final one, which is mailing list magic. That's the 6th superpower. The thing I want to talk about is something called the eyeball matrix. And the eyeball matrix really is a way of describing the different ways that someone can do social media and the different levels that they can do it at. So most people start out, and I'll put up the matrix in a second. And this is something I developed a while ago because I kept trying to explain to people how they needed to advance on social media, right? That is the challenge. So let me put this on. Okay. So the way that this works, I love this. Mandy Hughes is watching live. She says, you absolutely can do it alongside being a carer. And, Mandy is a perfect example of that. She's a tech pixie who is a carer and also has learned how to leverage social media in order to create financial independence for herself. So this is, let me see if I can make this a bit bigger. This is the mind matrix, or the eyeball matrix. So how does the eyeball matrix work? Well, when you first start out in social media, I've got for those of you listening to the podcast, I've got a quadrant on here. And the bottom left quadrant is fewer eyeballs and less content. So when you first start out, hardly anybody is looking at your stuff. And you might tentatively put 1 or 2 posts out. Like, it's not a lot of eyeballs, not a lot of content. That's where most people are who come into TechPixies, but not everybody, but a lot of people are there. And then what happens is you progress. You get more confident with creating content, but then you're not growing. It's the same eyeballs looking at all the content. And this is a really important thing to think about, because this is the next set of people that come through TechPixies. They're creating content, but they're not growing. People aren't seeing it. They're not engaging with it. And really, that's where people get stuck. And that's when people say, oh, social media doesn't work, right? It doesn't work because it's not, my account's not growing. I'm creating all this content. I'm spending all this time. No one's seeing it, right? And that's where people get really stuck. So our goal at TechPixies is to get you to a place where you're creating really good content and more eyeballs are seeing it, right? And really, you can't do this unless you've got a good organic strategy, right? So what does organic mean? It means you're creating content that people want to consume and engage with. And then when people want to consume and engage with it, it gets shown to more people, right? And that's why we have people at TechPixies who create posts that go viral. We have one gal, she did a TikTok post, Grace, and it got like 4 million views or something crazy like that. And she got all these thousands of followers off the back of it. It only takes one really good video in some networks to really grow your account. And the more you do the video, the more you practice, and the more you do different things, you're going to get better and better at it. But the idea is that you should be trying to get more eyeballs on less content. That to me is the sweet spot, especially for someone who's got a relatively low budget, right? So the way I described it today is, if you want to hire someone to do your social media, that's gonna be a minimum of $500 to $1,000 a month. That's what's gonna cost you. If you're gonna go and work for someone as a social media manager, you're probably gonna have more than one client, right? We have one gal in our program. She said to me, she's got 16 clients and she's got a 5-figure income, it's a 5,000 coming in every month. So that's really cool, right? She's managed to create a system for her that works. She can manage multiple clients, and she's now got an income that creates financial independence for her, right? So to me, there's two ways of looking at this. Either I'm going to save myself, 6,000 to 12,000 pounds a year minimum, or I'm going to be able to make 12,000 to 36,000 pounds. Those are really big shifts for people to realize. I can save money or I can make money with these skills. They're really, really important skills. So the reason I really like teaching the eyeball matrix is just to get you to be thinking, okay, I want to create less content with more eyeballs. Now, what you can also do when you're creating less content with more eyeballs is if you've got good organic content, you can start putting money behind paid advertising. Now, we don't teach paid advertising in our social media management certification because we want you to get a really good handle on organic content. But in our Business Beyond Social program, which is the program that comes afterwards, which is the one that we launched today, which is why I'm doing this at 10 o'clock at night, that's where we teach paid advertising. Right. So, but you can't do paid advertising if you're not doing regular social media. Because it'll cost you too much money. Right. You need to be able to know how to connect with an audience, and you do that through organic. Now, with paid advertising, you can speed up the testing process, which is nice. Okay. And then this is the last thing: more eyeballs, more content. Now, this is where you're maximizing like all of the networks. You're posting as much as possible. You're sort of maxing out. Now, I like to describe this as, any influencer you see on social media, any name, really, really like a big name like Brene Brown or Mel Robbins or Tony Robbins or, Amy Porterfield, any of those people that have like big, big followings on social media, they also have an entire team that's doing stuff. Alex Hormozi, who is probably one of the best known people in the industry right now, he's built $100 million business, selling gym memberships and then investing in companies that do online learning and all this, online training. He said on a YouTube video, he said he spent $85,000 a month on his social media team. $85,000 a month. That's on creating his content. That's not even on paid advertising. It's just on his team. So, unless, if you're not Stephen Bartlett, if you're not Alex Hormozi, if you're not Mel Robbins, like that's just not going to be where you're at. So this is the $85,000 a month place. You're just not there. Now you might go work for a company and be one of the people that they're paying to do that. Right. And that's very exciting and fun. But most people that we work with are really on the start of this journey. Let me try and go back. They're really here. Most people we work with are either they haven't started at all, or they've started, but they're not growing. They're creating all this content. They're burnt out from creating content, but they haven't figured out how to engage people and how to get more eyeballs on less content. That's what we're really aiming for. All right. So that's a little bit of a special extra training. I only do that when I think I've got a little bit of time to get through it. So the final superpower is mailing list magic. What does mailing list magic means? It means the sales are in the mails. It means the money is in the mails, right? Who is your best customer? Your best customer is someone who pays you. If you are not getting paid for your business, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. I'm sure you've heard that phrase. So the idea here is that you do need to make sales in order to have a business. And even if you work for someone else, and this is very important, you should really listen to me. If you're thinking about being a social media manager, or if you are a social media manager, you will have a job for life if you can generate leads for that company, whatever company you're working for. So if you're able to take the social media plan and strategy that you have and generate more interest in the company by generating more leads, and someone on the team is following up, as a social media manager, you usually don't do the sales. Someone else does the sales. But the key is that you're driving leads, you're driving traffic, or you're taking care of community, right? Sometimes, like at TechPixies, a big part of our intern program for social media is community management. We have 22,000 people across all of our social media networks. We have 3 very active social media groups or groups on Facebook, and we need people to manage those. So, your community manager job might be what you're doing, not lead generation, but you got to get really clear on why you're doing the social media for another person. Am I doing it for leads, or am I doing it for sales, or am I doing it for community management, right? Really, really important to understand that. Anyway, if you're running your own business, or even if you're running social media for someone, the mailing list is where the money is. The mailing list is where the sales are. And this is very important. You can't meet people you don't know unless you can't go buy mailing lists anymore. So the only way you meet people you don't know is on social media. And then you want to move them from social media on to an email list. And you do that with a lead magnet or with a product discount. So, really good example of someone doing it with a lead magnet is a student of ours, Carrie Rian. She is a maths tutor, and during the pandemic, she lost her job and she had to move back in with her parents, and she found our boot camp. And on the very first day, she did her vision board, and her vision board said she was going to have 5 tutoring students by the end of the year. And by the end of the year, she was totally booked out. She came onto a coaching call. She goes, Joy, I've got a problem. I'm fully booked out. Well, how did Carrie get fully booked out? She created a guide for parents with children who had math anxiety. She put it onto Facebook. It got shared hundreds of times. In order to get the guide, people had to give Carrie their email address. So when they got onto her mailing list, she could send emails and say, hey, by the way, I've got a tutoring session that's opened up this week, or a tutoring slot that's opened up this week. Does anyone want it? Her tutoring slots go so fast because there's a waiting list. She is fully booked to the extent that she bought her own house that she now lives in with her daughter and works flexibly from her living room or from her kitchen or from her beautiful home that she bought. So here's a woman who was on universal credit and now owns her own house because she learned how to leverage the power of social media, right? Remember the question I asked on day 1, what's possible for you if you learn how to leverage social media? That's what was possible for Carrie. But the sales are in the mails. They weren't on social media necessarily. She put the lead magnet on social media and people signed up to the lead magnet. Here's the deal. When you put a post out on social media, it gets seen by 3 to 10% of your audience, right? 3 to 10%. So you have a following of 100 people, 3 to 10 people are going to see it, and that's it. You have a following of 1,000 people, 30 to 100 people are going to see it, and that's it. Whereas if you have a mailing list of 100 people, anywhere from 20 to 60% are going to see it, right? So that's 20 to 60 people. You have a mailing list of 1,000 people, it's 20 to 60%, that's 200 to 600 people. And at TechPixies, for our alumni emails, we have a 60%, 50 to 60% open rate. For our non-alumni emails, we have a 20 to 30% open rate, and it's very steadily at the 30%. So you're going to get seen more in email. There's a reason Emma Bridgewater sends an email every single day. They make money every single day. So the story I told was of Karen Evans. Her husband owned a rubber duck shop. She came onto the boot camp and she's like, Joy, can you help me? I sell rubber ducks. And I'm like, I don't know if I can help you. I've never done rubber ducks, right? I've always done social media management. I said, but I'm willing to give it a go. She was a little bit of, in my mind, she was a little bit of a wild card. Like, is it going to work selling rubber ducks? Well, it turns out, guess where the sales were? They were in the mails, right? So Karen had a mailing list of like 3,000 people that had bought her rubber ducks over the years, never ever emailed people. And I said to her, okay, let's put the brave pants on. Let's get an email out. And she sent an email out around Valentine's Day. And it really was at TechPixies, we have something called Star Pods where people get together in smaller groups. And her Star Pod was like, you can do this, Karen, you can do this. So she sends out this email. She had like a 4, 5, 6% conversion rate. She made 200 pounds. And it was like, oh, I can make money with email. So then she sent another one 2 weeks later, another 200 pounds, another 4 to 5, 6% conversion rate. And she started to realize that every time I send out an email, I'm going to make money. So Karen's business grew a huge amount, not just because of emails, but also the social that they were driving to those emails. But really, she started doing something called social media stacking. She started with one network, she added another one, and then another one, and then another one. And every time someone bought something, and people do buy products directly from social media, but guess where the follow-up is? The follow-up's in the emails. So they will buy a product on social media, and then they're in your mailing list, and then you're sending them regular emails. And then that's how it works. So the sales are still in the mails. It's still where everything happens from a money perspective. And you do need customers in order to have a business. You do need customers in order to pay yourself, right? This is part of the deal of running a business. And not everyone in our program wants to run a business, but they want to be a social media manager. But guess what? It's a social media management business. You do social media management for someone, you invoice them, they pay you. It's a business, right? So whether you're a social media manager or whether you're selling rubber ducks, you're in business, right? So sales are in the mails, very important. It's not going to happen on social media. You might get your first sale on social media, but you're going to get more second and third sales through email because you're going to build up the know, like, and trust factor because they're going to see you more than they see you on social media. What do you send to your audience? You send them your social media content. So you create a video every week, you put it up on social media, you email it to your mailing list. I mean, I have some mentors, that's all they do. They create one YouTube video a week. They send that video out to their email list, and that's it. And that's all they do for social media. They don't do anything else. So, and it's very much what we do. So we do one podcast video every week. We send that out to our mailing list. All right. So the sales are in the mails. Really, really a great point that I think a lot of people miss. And once you got your first sale, it's a lot easier to get your second and third sale from that same person as long as you have a good product, right? You have a good product. People want to buy from you again. People buy from people, right? If they like you, they like your product, they'll come back. And that's what you're aspiring to do. But you got to get them off social media and get them onto email. And you do that with a lead magnet. All right. So that's all 6 social media superpowers. And as I said today, we have an entire training in our social media management certification where we teach you how to create a lead magnet. We teach you how to set up an email system. We teach you how to create a nurture sequence. We teach you how to send out an email every week. Those are all bonuses because we know that in addition to knowing how to do social media, you're going to need to know how to do all that too. So if you're interested in our bonuses, if you're interested in our program, if you're thinking, actually, I would really like to be a social media manager, or I'd like to save some money and do my own social media, then our social media management certification course is 100% for you. And I'm going to talk about it in the training tomorrow. Now, in our recaps, I always go through the homework that we have for TechPixies for the Superhero Bootcamp. So let me just run through that really quick. So the homework that we gave everybody was to go onto our website and find a podcast that they liked. And this is to teach you how to share a link from the web, from the internet on social media. Now, in the Matrix training, I said not all social media networks let you share links, but there are some that still do. So Facebook lets you share links, Twitter lets you, or X lets you share links, LinkedIn lets you share links, but TikTok and Instagram don't, right? You can't put a link, that can't be like you can't put a link to your website. You can't stick a link to your website as the post for those two. You have to do a video or a picture, and you can put a link in the copy, but then it doesn't click through. So the networks you can really use links on, like if you want to if one of your objectives is to drive traffic to your website or to drive traffic to a product, it's going to be harder to do on certain networks than others. Facebook is a really good network to do it on. So the homework was to go to our website. So I'm just going to add the website back up on here. And then to go into the weekly tips section, which is where we post all of our podcasts, and find a podcast that you like, right? So there's tons of podcasts here, like how I rebuilt my failing business and made it out stronger than ever. That was a podcast I did recently. Or there's one here, what to do when your 7-year career break has eroded your confidence. This worked for Ella Hoyos. And they'll just keep loading as you keep going. The 6 social media principles you need to know. So there's all of these different episodes. Don't dismiss your dreams, how Louise Bailey landed her dream job. So the goal here is that you find a podcast episode that you like. And in the homework, what I want you to do is I want you to go click on that podcast. And then what I want you to do is listen to it or watch it or read the show notes and see if it's something you're interested in. And you can copy and paste the URL, which is the link. So techpixies.com/episode 1998. Now, on a Mac, it's harder to, for whatever reason, whenever people try to do this on a Mac, they can't copy and paste this. So whatever episode you like, it's always techpixies.com/the episode and then the number. So let's say we want to take Louise Bailey's podcast and we're going to go into the Facebook group. Now, if you're not in the bootcamp, you do not have access to the Facebook group. All right. So you can do this from your your computer. You can do it from your phone. I was teaching it from your computer today just because it's, slightly easier for me to teach it that way. But the idea is that you go onto the Superhero Bootcamp if you're in it, but you have to go to techpixies.com/bootcamp to get into the bootcamp in the first place. Once you're in there, there's a section that says, oh, I've got a dog that's barking in the background. Apologies. There's a section that says write something. So you go to where it says write something. And then in that write something section, you would paste the link. So I'm going to paste the link, which is techpixies.com/episode 198. Again, apologies for the dog in the background. I can't do anything. Everybody's asleep, so you're just going to have to bear with it. And then you're going to see that it scrapes well. Actually, I'm going to take care of the dog. It's live video, and we can always potentially edit this out. Go take care of the dog. Okay. Oh, welcome to live video. All right. So I'm going to take the link, techpixies.com/episode 198. I'm going to copy and paste it into the area where it says write something. Now, what I was encouraging people in the bootcamp to do was to actually, listen to it and then say, here are my, I love this episode, here are my top takeaways. And then just to put those top takeaways in and then to hit post. And then once you do that, it will show up on your feed. So you can see that lots of different people have been posting their thoughts about the podcast that they've seen on our website. Now, most of our websites will scrape really well because we've built our website in a way that when you post a link from our website, it looks pretty. But sometimes you get the gray box of doom. And the gray box of doom is part of the whole reason why we teach this is to teach you how to scrape your pages on your website and make them look good on social media. Most websites now scrape really well, meaning they look really good when you put them on social media, but some of them still don't. And so it's a good exercise to say, okay, what pages on our website need to be scraped and fixed? Again, scraping, something we teach in our social media management certification. Very important that if you're posting on social media, you're posting professionally and your posts look really good. That's how you make them look good. You scrape them and you make sure that they scrape well. So again, that's part of our strategy module. We teach you how to scrape posts for different networks. So there you go. I've got through all of them. This is a bit longer of a recap. It's almost like the whole thing all over again. Part of that was I had to go take care of a dog that was barking out the front window, and I just love teaching, and I teach. So I'm going to stop teaching now, and I'm going to wrap it up for the night. I'm going to go to bed, get a good night's sleep, and tomorrow, and probably when you're listening to this today, Thursday, the 21st of September, is when I'm going to talk about our social media management certification. It's going to be open until the 27th, and then it shuts, and we get started on October 2nd. And the people who start on October 2nd, they get to go. They'll be done by April. They'll be done by Easter. They'll have learned all that they need to know about social media to get themselves started, to get themselves up and running, to get themselves moving forwards. And they're gonna have a great, fantastic, wonderful start, because we don't just work with you to help you understand social media. We work with you to understand the underlying fears you have about social media so that you can overcome them and you can leverage social media in order to return to work, change careers, or start a business. But more importantly, to increase your confidence and become financially independent. And that's what I care about massively at TechPixies. So thanks for hanging out with me. I love it. Susan Harris, you're here. I love it. 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night, you're here. I love it. I love it. I love it. Mandy Hughes, 10:30 at night, she's here. She says the boot camp is so much fun, and it is so much fun. And if you love the boot camp, you're going to love studying with us for 18 whole weeks, and you're going to love getting your social media management certification with us. So if you've enjoyed these podcasts, if you have any questions, send us a message at support@techpixies.com. You can WhatsApp me directly from the website. I answer every WhatsApp that comes through, and I send little voice messages and everything. So just know that there's a place for you. If you want to transform your life, there's a place for you at TechPixies. You can, we're here for you. So use it. Use our services to transform your life because it works and it's amazing. And I'm so grateful that you listened to this, and I hope to see you in the boot camp. Again, last day to sign up to get access to all the trainings and everything. 21st of September, social media management certification opens on the 21st. It closes on the 27th of September, and we're going to get started on the 2nd of October. And there'll be one more podcast that comes out tomorrow, the 21st of September, which recaps everything we've done and tells you a little bit more about our social media management certification. So if you're interested, make sure you watch it. Have a great evening, day, whatever, wherever you are. And thanks for listening.